last night I had a dream so vivid and real that it left me enchanted. It was in another land, another time, centuries ago. I was no longer a plain man who worked and struggled, scrimped and saved. I was a king, a great king, ruler of all Egypt, and the people were my slaves. I had commanded them to build a great pyramid in honor of my name, and that it should stand throughout the ages. It was to be an engineering marvel, constructed with a science until then unknown, 481 feet high, with many tombs and vaults inside. It was to be a guarantee of security against my future life and all my personal belongings. My beautiful jewels, diamonds, emeralds, rubies, I would take with me to my final resting place. It took 100,000 men over 20 years to build my great pyramid, and it was more than just a symbol of my vanity and ego. It was the first wonder of the world, and locked deep in its depths were many mysteries which would take the people of this earth thousands of years to unravel. And while I looked upon this magnificent structure I had built, I was suddenly enveloped in a cloud of mist, and it seemed to be carried away against my own will. As the mist cleared away, I found myself in a strange, beautiful land, the land of Persia, mighty empire of Asia. I was in the city of Halicarnassus, site of the most tragic love affair in all history. It was here the lovely Queen Artemisia built the most beautiful tomb the world has ever seen as a symbol of her love for her husband. They'd been married only a short time. It was an idyllic love. Then the king was taken in death. The people were in deep sympathy with the queen. Her favorite poet wrote a sonnet of love and set it to music. The court musicians played it hour after hour while the queen listened with heavy heart. The queen was determined to make her tomb the most beautiful in all of Persia. It was built of white ivory and gold. It was 140 feet high, and on the crest was a pyramid of 24 steps with a chariot of 4 horses sculptured with such flowing movement that they suggested great energy and strength. So lovely and gracious was its construction that the whole top of the tomb seemed to float in air. Shortly before the last stone had been placed, the lovely queen died, grieving for her husband, and she was buried beside him in the place long before designated. And so, in my dream, I had seen the second great wonder of the world.
Praise him, oh praise him, oh praise him, praise him, praise him.
Zeus, loftiest embodiment of divinity and art, the great Jupiter made of gold and ivory, covered with great jewels, flashing rubies, diamonds, emeralds, protected by the great temple with doors of bronze. And I am Zeus, god of Olympia, seated on the throne. On my head is a wreath of olives. In my right hand I hold an angel. She, too, is made of ivory and gold. In my left hand I have a great staff, adorned with shining metal, and an eagle perched on top. My sandals are of the purest gold. My throne is covered with many jewels, and the great beasts. I am Zeus, the golden Jupiter, god of Olympia. Then one day a madman, the emperor of Rome, with a madman scheme, tried to carry me away. For my head he would fashion one in his own image. For my jewels, the great jewels embedded in me, he would substitute false ones of his own creation. But his workmen were driven away by supernatural peals of laughter, which broke out when they laid hands on my throne. And their ships were sent to the bottom of the sea, struck down by lightning. I was Zeus, god of Olympia, greater than any living man. I was the third wonder of the world. Soon found in my dream that time had no dimensions. Space was no problem. Suddenly I was on a great white bird, and the bird gracefully lifted from the ground. I was flying at a speed I never believed possible, over mountains, across deserts, then over a great body of water. After a while, I seemed to sense I was approaching a familiar scene, and my heart beat with expectancy.
New York, New York, New York is a wonderful town.
The skyscrapers are inspiring.
The subways, the taxis are yours for the hiring.
The Statue of Liberty, George Washington Bridge,
the Holland Tunnel,
Times Square,
The Empire State to Heaven's Gate. And don't forget Central Park.
Are in New York. New York, New York, New York is a wonderful town.
a town that you've got to go to.
A town that you've got to see. Get out, get out, get out and get looking around.
You'll marvel at all the marvels.
And that's where you want to be. New York, New York, New York is a wonderful
night, New York was a fairyland. A million lights were flickering like fireflies on a hot summer night. Huge blocks of stone and steel reached for the sky. My eyes had never seen such wonders before. I was enchanted with the sounds about me. My dream had shown me the most wondrous marvel of all.